Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about favorite products that I have dethroned, meaning I found something that I like even better. So if you've been around a while, then some of these things you might remember the absolute chokehold they had on me at one point in time. These videos are always a great reminder to me that just because something has been a favorite in the past doesn't mean it will always be a favorite. So I always want to think twice before I buy backups of products, and sometimes I even end up regretting repurchasing something that I used up, even if that was previously deemed a holy grail to me. One product I have happily dethroned with something much more affordable is the Ilia skin tint. I loved this product for years. I even used it up and repurchased it. Loved it all the way through both of those bottles. But I have since tried the NYX Buttermelt Glaze Soft Glow Skin Tint, and I love it just as much as the Ilia. Now, it's not the same by any means. In fact, this is much less glowy and dewy, which these days I prefer. I used to be all about super glowy, dewy complexion products. The name of this makes it sound like it would be incredibly glowy, borderline greasy with the name like Buttermilk Glaze, but this is actually much more natural looking and skin-like on my skin, which I really appreciate these days since I all of a sudden have oily skin, which I'm kind of loving. I'm not gonna lie, I have really found I like having oily skin much more than having dry skin. Now, I think a big part of why my skin has gone back to being oily, it's two reasons. One, we moved back to a much more humid climate. Two is that I have stopped using prescription tretinoin for the past few months simply because I need to renew my prescription. I need to actually see a doctor to do that. So in the meantime, I've been using non-prescription retinol products, which are just not as heavy duty as tretinoin. So I don't think I would like the Ilia skin tint as much now as I used to when I had more dry skin. I still think that's a great product, but this has really taken the place of that in my routine for a skin tint with SPF. As I always say, I always wear a true sunscreen underneath this because I'm never going to be applying a full quarter teaspoon to my face of this. I think that would look ridiculous, but just for a little boost of sun protection, I really enjoy having a complexion product with SPF, and this has really filled that spot in my collection. So very happy to have found a much more affordable SPF skin tint. Some of you might also remember the obsession I used to have with the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. I thought that that would be my holy grail foundation for life. I used up one bottle of it, repurchased it, and in my most recent declutter, I ended up decluttering that second bottle because I don't know what changed, but I just stopped liking the way that foundation looked on my skin. There was just one day I put it on and I was like, thanks, I hate it. That is a perfect example of something that I repurchased and ended up just not continuing to like it. So sometimes maybe it's best not to repurchase a duplicate of something, especially if you already have products in your collection that you like just as much. What I loved about that ColourPop foundation when I did love it was the buildable medium coverage and the natural satin finish that it had on my skin. And I have since replaced it. I actually have two products I feel like have dethroned that ColourPop foundation. One is, you probably already can guess, the CoverGirl Clean Invisible foundation. This is so good. Now, granted, it doesn't have as much coverage as the ColourPop did. And that's another thing that has changed as far as my complexion product preferences go, is that I don't really desire much more than light to light medium coverage because, first of all, my skin has been in a better place lately. I have not been getting as many breakouts. I feel like in general, I just don't have as much that I want to cover. But also, if I do have blemishes to cover or any discoloration, I would prefer to go in with a light coverage base product and then just spot conceal. That's exactly what I did today, and today I'm wearing another product that I have just fallen head over heels for recently. It's the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop Skin Tint. This is what I have on today, and this is a matte skin tint, which is kind of rare to find. Most skin tints, for some reason, are more dewy, but some people want matte skin tints, you know? Now, you're probably looking at my skin right now thinking, your skin is looking glowy. Well, for starters, I have on both a glowy blush and a highlighter, but two, like I said, my skin has been producing more glow on its own lately, but I love the way a matte base product looks. I love how it blurs and smooths out my skin without having much coverage. That blurring quality to it just is so perfecting to the skin. So I also liked this a lot before my skin turned oily. So I really think if you like a more matte finish product, whether you have dry skin, oily skin, or anything in between, I think this is a great one to check out. Actually, with both the Fenty and the CoverGirl, I think these are pretty similar. The CoverGirl, I think, is not quite as mattifying. This is more of a satin finish, and the Fenty is more matte. Both of these I like to apply with my fingers and then just lightly tap over with a sponge. I find that I get the best coverage that way. These are both rather liquidy formulas, so I don't like to blend them out initially with a sponge because they just end up soaking up so much of the product. Both of these have dethroned that ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. I would say right now the Fenty is in that #1 spot for me, but if you're wanting something more affordable, something maybe not quite as matte, highly recommend the CoverGirl Clean Invisible. Love both of these so much. The next thing that has been dethroned, this is going to surprise you. It surprises me too. But the Tree Hut body scrubs, or just body scrubs in general, but the Tree Hut ones, you know, are my favorites. But in my last empties video before we moved, I was kind of shocked to see that I had 5 empty body scrubs that my partner and I had used up in just a handful of months. And it got me thinking, lately I've just been thinking about ways that I can just buy and consume less stuff. And as much as I love the scented body scrubs from Tree Hut, I'm not saying I'll never buy one again. Like if I come across a seasonal scent, you know, I'm not opposed to treating myself every now and then, but going through like 1 body scrub a month, it's a little much, especially when there are other ways to physically exfoliate the body. So that brings me to what I've replaced those body scrubs with. And I want to thank Sima for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Sima makes these exfoliating Japanese shower towels. These have completely replaced body scrubs for me. These are reusable shower towels, and unlike a washcloth or a loofah, they're quick drying, so they don't harbor moisture and then get that mildewy smell that I hate with washcloths. They are also infused with silver ions that help to prevent bacteria growth, and they're machine washable, so you can reuse them. I like to just lather it up with my body wash. Lately, I've been loving the Sima charcoal body wash because it actually has salicylic acid in it, which helps prevent acne, which I am definitely prone to, as well as like any kind of rough, bumpy skin. That combination leaves my skin feeling so incredibly soft, and I just do not miss using body scrubs. Another bonus is that I end up using so much less body wash at a time with these towels because they lather so well, and so it's really helping to cut costs in more ways than one. And as you can see, these are super long, like I can't even fit the whole thing in frame here, which makes it so easy to scrub my entire back. It's just such a game changer. So if you would also like to ditch your body scrub habit or your loofah habit, highly recommend the Sima exfoliating shower towels. They do have some bundle deals on their website as well. I know you can get 3 of them for $15.90 each. And they are also hooking you guys up with a discount code, which I will list down below, along with a link to check them out. So thank you so much to Sima for sponsoring today's video and also for totally revolutionizing my body care routine. Another thing that I've dethroned for something more affordable are the Milani baked blushes. I used to love those baked blushes. I thought they were the best out there, and they are good. Don't get me wrong. They're a good product. There's a reason why they're so iconic. But I think that Essence has done even better with their Pure Nude baked blushes. I actually don't have the Milani baked blushes in my collection anymore. I decluttered them because, honestly, I just kind of fell out of love with the formula. Like a lot of baked products, the Milani baked blushes are kind of dry to the touch, but the Essence Pure Nude baked blush has such a soft feel to it. I remember the Milani ones, when you touch them, they would make like a scratchy sound against your skin. The Essence one does not do that at all. It just feels so soft and velvety smooth. The other thing about the Milani baked blushes that I kept noticing the more I used them was that they would just end up looking too glowy on my skin, like just too metallic, too much. And I don't feel that way about the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush. And you can see this does give a good amount of glow. It really is like a blush lighter. You really don't need to wear highlighter with it, although I did today because I love highlighter, can't help myself. But you can wear this as your blush and highlighter all in one. And somehow, I mean, I've only tried this shade, so to be fair, I haven't tried all the shades, but this is the shade Shimmery Rose, and it's just the perfect soft pink shimmery blush. It doesn't look glittery on my skin. It just gives such a nice plumped up glow to my cheeks, and I love it. And it's also like half the price of the Milani baked blush. The only thing is, it's Essence quality packaging, so keep that in mind. The hinge on mine is starting to crack. It hasn't broken yet, but I know that does happen with a lot of Essence products, and the writing has definitely started to wear off of mine. But I'm willing to overlook that because the product inside is so incredible, and it feels and performs so much better than you would expect of a $6 product. Another product I never thought could be replaced are the Flower Lights palettes. My favorite one, the only one I kept through all my declutters, is the Flower Desert Lights. And again, don't get me wrong, I still love this palette. I think it's gorgeous. But I found something that I like even better. Also, side note, I don't know if you've heard yet, but Flower Beauty is closing, which is so sad because I really love so many of their products. For an all shimmer palette, I loved these lights palettes for the longest time. They really do have some beautiful textures, and they are just so metallic, so smooth. They're like a creamy powder shadow, and they have just some gorgeous metallic shades in there. I mean, very foiled and beautiful. But I've found an all shimmer palette that I find just a little bit more sophisticated than the Flower Beauty Desert Lights. And it's around the same price as well. It's the Unleasha Glitterpedia. They have a bunch of shades of these. Some of them are not all shimmer, but this one is. This is the shade number 1, Olive Glitter. And this is a shimmer and glitter lover's dream. If you like glittery, sparkly toppers, this is a palette filled with just the most beautiful topper shades. I'm wearing 3 of them on my eyes today. And the reason the Glitterpedia has dethroned the Flower Desert Lights for me all comes down to the variety of textures that you get in here. It's not all one texture like the Desert Lights palette. The Glitterpedia ranges from a satin shimmer to some fine sparkly shades to some really chunky glittery shades. So you get a little bit of everything in the shimmer spectrum. So for today's eye look, I am wearing some matte shades from the Urban Decay Stoned Vibes palette, which funnily enough is a mostly shimmer palette, but I only used the mattes in here. I used the peachy matte all throughout the crease. I used the more rusty matte in the outer corner, and I used the plummy, it's more of a satin matte, as my upper winged liner. And then my shimmers are all from the Glitterpedia palette. I have on the shade Vital, which is this bottom corner shade, all over the lid, and then in the center of the lid, I applied some of this duochrome pinky gold shade. That's the shade Mirage. And then in my inner corner, this super glimmery shade I have on is the shade Occult, which is this pink sparkly shade. I love this palette. I find myself reaching for it so often because it just kind of has everything I need as far as shimmery, sparkly top coats. And that's obviously not really what the Flower Desert Lights palette is intended to be. These are more of like your foiled metallic shades. But when it comes to all shimmer palettes, the Unleasha Glitterpedia has taken the top spot for me. I use it so much more. And also, look at how much more compact it is while still having 3 more shades than the Flower palette does. I always love efficient, compact packaging. So if you haven't tried these Unleasha palettes yet and you're looking for a good all shimmer palette, might I recommend the Glitterpedia number 1. So good. I've been testing a lot of brow glues lately. My brow glue showdown is in progress. My goal is to get it out by the end of October, so stay tuned. For the longest time, kind of the product that started my obsession with brow laminating style products was the Ardell brow glue. It's the instant lamination lift. This really looks and acts like glue. Like it kind of looks like and even smells like Elmer's glue. And it works that way too. It is really effective at like plastering your brow hairs to your face if that's what you want, which is what I want. So that's what I'm looking for. This does a great job. When you buy this, it comes with a little dual-ended tool that has a brush and comb on one end and a flat paddle that you can use to press your brow hairs into place on the other end. I lost mine, which is kind of my point with this, which is that when I use this, I have to apply it with this, and then I have to reach for a separate tool to press the brow hairs into place. But I misplaced the tool that it came with, so I've just been using the back of my tweezers now, which works fine. But I have since discovered, and this has become one of my favorite brow glues, it's the Urban Decay Slick Day Brow. So underrated, first of all. I feel like I haven't heard anyone talking about this. But the great thing about this is the wand. So this wand is literally shaped like a fine-tooth comb. So you have a row of these very fine teeth that really effectively get through every brow hair. And then the back of the wand is designed to be able to press the brow hairs down into place. So I don't need to reach for a separate tool when I'm using this. I can do it all with just the wand that it comes with, which is just so handy. I love that. So today I used, and to be fair, I think both of my brows look good, but I used the Urban Decay on this side and the Ardell brow glue on this side. And like I said, they both look good, but I just enjoy using the Urban Decay so much more. I also feel like it's easier to control with that really fine comb. I don't end up getting a bunch of the glue like above my eyebrow on my skin, which is a problem I've always had with the Ardell, especially once I flatten it out with the spatula. I end up with this layer of glue like above my eyebrow, and sometimes it can mix weirdly with my foundation. So I still think the Ardell brow glue it's a top contender for sure. Like, not to spoil my showdown too much, but this will be in the top handful of brow glues because it is very effective for that laminating effect. But I find myself reaching for the Urban Decay one a lot more often just because it's so much more convenient. It's an unfortunate case of a more expensive product dethroning a drugstore product, but sometimes a more expensive product is just better. So you guys know over the last year or so, I've been on the hunt for good SPF lip products. I did do a big SPF lip balm showdown last summer, so I'll link that if you want to see it. One of my top favorites, you might remember, was the InnBeauty Project Sun Balm, which has SPF 30. It's a tinted mineral lip gloss, and it comes in a few shades. I have the shade Latte, which is a nice warm nude shade. I still really like this product, but I found something that I like better that's very similar that I think is just a little bit nicer in terms of texture, and it's the Undefined Beauty R&R Sun Glaze. This is another totally underrated product and brand that I definitely think is worth checking out if you're looking for some innovative SPF products. This is also a mineral tinted lip gloss. First of all, I'll say across the board, if you're struggling to find an SPF lip product that doesn't taste bad, just go for a mineral one because really it's the chemical filters that have that awful sunscreeny taste. You're not going to taste any sunscreen with mineral lip products. So yeah, I found that my favorite SPF lip products tend to be the tinted mineral lip glosses. The tint is going to take away any sort of white cast that you might otherwise get from mineral filters, but they don't taste or smell like sunscreen. Both of these are great options. The InnBeauty Project has SPF 30 and the Undefined Beauty has SPF 40, so it's a little bit more SPF, but the Undefined Beauty one has replaced the InnBeauty for me. First of all, I am partial to a doe foot applicator. I just really like the precision I get with this style of applicator versus a squeezy tube lip gloss. And I also just prefer the texture of the Undefined Beauty. This one is much thinner and more comfortable. The InnBeauty Project one, it has a very kind of thick, sticky feel. And it does feel like, I mean, I guess this is a good thing, especially for an SPF product, but it really feels like it adheres to your lips, but it's also going to adhere to your cup, your water bottle. It sticks onto those materials and it's very hard to remove actually. You're going to probably need to go in with like a micellar water or a cleansing oil to get it off because it is so sticky. The Undefined Beauty one is just a little bit more comfortable. So you'll see in the demo clips that the shades of these are actually pretty similar. They're both kind of a warm nude shade, which I love. The only thing I'll say, these are around the same price. The InnBeauty Project is $24. The Undefined Beauty one is $20. However, the InnBeauty Project one comes with way more product. This one comes with 0.6 ounces, and the Undefined Beauty comes with 0.13 ounces. So like a sixth of the amount that you get with the InnBeauty. So you definitely are getting a much better bang for your buck with this InnBeauty Project Sun Balm. But you also have to ask yourself, are you going to be able to use up that amount of product before the expiration date? Personally, I kind of prefer having lip products that I feel like I could actually use up. Whereas I don't know if I'm going to be able to use up this InnBeauty one by the time it expires. I'll try, don't get me wrong. But the one I've been wearing all throughout this video is the Undefined Beauty Sun Glaze, and I just think it's so comfortable. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing a sunscreen on my lips. The Undefined one actually does come in another shade as well. The shade Untethered Pink, which actually is kind of like a mauve-y purple shade, and then Unbothered Nude. Those are the only two shades it comes in. So you have a warm tone and a cool toned option, whereas the InnBeauty Project one comes in 3 shades. A pink, kind of a rosy brown, and this latte shade. So they're definitely both great options depending on what you're looking for, but for me, the Undefined Beauty one has definitely beat out the InnBeauty. Those are some of my favorite products that have been dethroned. I found something better. And that right there is why I don't buy backups of my favorite products. Even if I think that they're going to be a holy grail for life, most of the time that just doesn't happen. Usually preferences change and I end up finding something that I like better along the way. So let me know if this has happened to you, if you've had any favorite products be dethroned by something that you liked even better. Thank you so much to Sima for sponsoring today's video. Again, I will link their website as well as a special discount code for you guys down below. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye!